My husband and I just celebrated our 19th anniversary. Yay, yes! Brings up a lot of memories of when we first got married, right? When we first met, I was about 17. I was regular pioneering, and usually with my best friend, we'll call her B. I was with her basically every day, with a couple of my other friends in the congregation. And when I met my husband, they were less than happy about it. I also dropped out of high school because the end was going to come so soon. Who needs a high school education? That's not going to come in handy. Paradise is going to be here any second. When I met my husband, he was a Jehovah's Witness, but he wasn't very regular at meeting attendance at service. He had a full-time job, and he was trying to help his mom keep the rest of his siblings and him afloat. I asked my best friend if she would please be my maid of honor, and thinking of course she wouldn't say no, like we spent every day together. Well, she did say no, and her reason was she didn't believe that he and I would last, and she couldn't be held responsible for being a part of something that she didn't feel was right. I asked some of my other girlfriends from that congregation if they would be bridesmaids, and they too said that they're sorry, but they can't have anything to do with the wedding because they didn't think it would work out. So that was heartbreaking because my best friend had moved away 6-7 hours away. She had to be my maid of honor from afar, which is like impossible because how could she physically help with any of it? This was before Pinterest, so I had no idea how to plan a wedding or what it should look like or what goes into it. No clue. When we would have parties or gatherings or get-togethers, which you're not supposed to call them parties, it was sort of more like potluck. Like everybody would bring things and everybody would contribute and everyone would have fun. And I figured that a wedding would work the same way, right? So we just sent out invitations and we're like, it'll take care of itself. We asked the elders if we could get married at the hall. Well, because my husband didn't have enough hours, he wasn't exemplary enough to be married to me, a pioneer, in the hall, which is infuriating now because you don't even have to count your time anymore.
Beginning November the 1st, 2023, congregation publishers will no longer be asked to report the amount of time they spend in the ministry.
Before you get married, you have to sort of have a sit down with the elders and sort of like go over like what marriage means and like get counseled, I guess. And so the elder that did that with us was like the oldest man on earth. He was the sweetest man on earth.
My darling, one thing I give you, Paul said, is a normal or natural thing to become irritated or to become upset. Forget it. Do not let the sun set with you in a provoked state.
And we loved him so much, and he loved us. And he is one of those old school JWs who just was doing things for Jehovah and kind of overlooked any of the bureaucratic crap. We got denied the Kingdom Hall. He was like, he fought for us. He was like, why? Like, these two are going to make it. He could just smell it. The younger elders, which, you know, are still in their like 60s or whatever, they're like, no, they don't have enough time, brother. Sorry. So we ended up getting married in an elementary school auditorium, like cafeteria, and we had to put like white paper over all the like bulletin boards. And oh man, the ordeal of like us getting married, because we just wanted to elope, okay? Because there was so much like that just kept not working out between B, not accepting being my maid of honor or a bridesmaid at least, and having no support. All my bridesmaids did not live near the wedding or us at all. The other thing was that my dad was sort of out of the picture at the time. That's a story for another time. But I had no one to walk me down the aisle except my mom. She was a single mom, and I had lived with her from like I was 9 until 17. And so I was like, of course she's walking me down the aisle. But my brother, who was 20 years older than me, and technically the head of the family, even though he lived in Vegas most of the time and would come visit and live with us and then not live with us, he was the guy in the family. So he was the head of the household, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. And he insisted that he give me away. And I'm like, I don't belong to you. I'm not your kid. Like, this is weird. You're not giving me away. Like, you're not walking me down the aisle. Mom's walking me down the aisle. And he insisted because it wouldn't look right. And I'm like, I don't care how it looks. Like, I'm getting married in elementary school, for God's sake, you know? So I gave in, and I had both my mom and my brother walk me down the aisle just to get it over with. And the whole wedding felt like we were just like putting on appearances, right? Like, we just have to do this to show everyone that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing, even though we would just much rather go sign some papers in a courthouse just to be married. The whole wedding, I should say, felt like being a Jehovah's Witness. It's all about appearances. You have to like put up appearances and be a really good Jehovah's Witness so that you can have the pretty picture, perfect wedding. And then, of course, they have to give this long old talk about marriage. And it was my uncle, and I loved him, and he made it a little bit more personal toward us about talking to us instead of to the congregation in the audience of what marriage is. It was more like, and this is what you should do, Brittany, and this is what you should do, Cedric. And we're just like, can you please, do you? Yeah, do you? Yeah, okay, you're married, kiss each other. Oh, it was so painful standing there, just but I just think it's hilarious that 19 years have gone by. We have surpassed both Cedric's parents and mine. I just think it's so funny that my best friends couldn't be a part of our wedding because they didn't think that we would last, because they didn't think that he was spiritual enough. He was not the reason that we left the truth. I was, because I decided to do the research that was so forbidden for so long. And so that was my bad.
Cedric, just do it. Not too much that way. That's the answer.
You're me bad. You are so bad.
All right, all the experience, that's why. You don't have at least one fight a week, you're doing something wrong. I gotta tell you a story that happened.
My darling, I want to wish you all the best. I pray that you'll stay close to Jehovah in the hard times, and remember that he's going to be with you. And like Bob said, to always consider the scriptures daily, to make it a daily habit to do that. And you'll be bound to stay together. So I'm so happy for both of you. Congratulations, Mrs. Maria.
Brittany and Cedric. Words of wisdom. Listen. Always listen. Let's always listen. Best advice.
All right. Cedric and Brittany, this is your older brother talking, brother-in-law. I just hope that you're both going to do well. If you got the earwax out of your ears and listen to him give his talk and apply that, you're going to do perfect. And it's going to last forever. So stick with it, and I'll support you, and your family will be there for you. Congratulations.
All right, you two. You guys have to stay close to Jehovah, keep doing His will, and we'll be watching. Take care.